4 students. Why we move?
Which class? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because he has two classes. There's one that he has like 40.
Care has a program at 2 o'clock.
So Dr. Wright teaches two classes. One at 11:30.
Oh, that's after.
Yeah, that's 11:30 in Arabic.
11:30 class is over there.
12:30 is in.
Acha.
12:30 is a tafsir class. Arabic tafsir class.
So we could stay.
Yeah, we could stay till lunch or till next break.
Okay, that's fine. We can do that. That's fine.
English tafsir?
Huh?
English tafsir?
Yeah.
I thought that's 12.
12?
Yeah.
What was?
You go from 12 to 1:30.
No, brother, right?
Yeah.
11:30 to 12:30 is in Arabic.
Right.
12:30 in the room. And 12:30
Oh,
to the Zohar
11:30.
prayer is here. The tafsir. Yeah, I've done it.
I thought he started the English tafsir at 12. That's why I was.
12:30.
But he starts at 12:30?
Yeah, always true. It's always true. So how's your Arabic? Arabic do you learn? Do you study? Study करते हैं? Time मिलता है?
I studied before actually talking about this stories. It gets very difficult. I'm thinking about doing keeping contrast the class.
But she's from Arab or she speaks Arabic. But this maybe not the Quranic Arabic, right? It's in the speaking Arabic.
Actually, she specializes in Quranic. So she's studying. She's teaching. She's teachers upstairs right now. She doesn't hear my voice. Sometimes I have to get my help. I have very hard of hearing. I gotta set up the sound escapes.
Oh, so you keep.
That's one of the reasons why my mother knows my shortcomings for
It's good that you have like a teacher at home.
so she looked at the book and said, this is different. I've never seen it taught this way. She goes, it's interesting because she said, you're going from the top down instead of the bottom up.
So actually, that's true because like in Indo-Pakistan, it starts from surf, from the verb part, the girdan and all the conjugation. But here, you start with the ism thing.
Because he said, okay, the syllabus says, even after 6 weeks, you still study Islam. But after 6 weeks, you should study Islam, why are you doing that? I don't know, but it's a little bit easier for me.
It's easy. But you know why it's easier for us? Because in English, we start always from noun. And noun is always easy for us, right? So that's why, like, we never started from verb. We start always from noun in English. But in Quranic Arabic, it's always start from surf. And surf, they start from hardest part.
Yeah, previous Arabic classes started from a different point, a vantage point. So maybe that's why it was just too much too soon for me. I was like, whoa, trying to put all the moving parts together. His style is a little bit different.
His style is I don't know if you know Nouman Ali Khan.
Yes.
Yeah. Nouman Ali Khan also is very good.
I asked Hamad, I have to ask him
If he can start
for
something.
people like me, is there another resource besides Nouman Ali Khan? No one can afford
Because
to.
we don't know the
He's very good.
Hamad is mashallah very good too. Hamad,
Yeah.
he has done Bayyina the whole 1 year course from them.
That's why I asked him, when are you going to teach?
I think somebody, brother Saad and all those asked him before, and I think he's going some not issues, but he's busy with his stuff at home, so that's why. But Saad said that he will start very soon too.
That would be
So
good.
just really very because he has
Even
done.
if he did like, for grammar, one suit up.
Yeah, take one suit up, or just start your Arabic. It's gonna be so.
If you ever heard Brother Rahman's America Lama Fil Fataha,
Good.
it's really good.
No, I heard of that.
If you go on YouTube,
Okay, there's a
say
bit of.
America Fil Fataha, in half hour, you completely go through the Fataha differently. Really fast. So that really helps, for me, it helps with my Kashur, because now I know what I'm saying, why I'm saying it. We all know what we say, but it's like, why are you saying it? Anything from word placement to word arrangement to...
It's beautiful. No, I didn't know that. I didn't know about his Surah Fatiha. But he has done the whole 30th, just 30th, whole tafsir of that. And that's so beautiful. He hasn't gone too much grammar of it, but still, so, the last 30th chapter, the last Quran, not in Bayyina. He did it.
I know they did something also.
He had part of like 13 surah up in Maryland, and after that he moved to Dallas, Texas. So he's continued the rest of the. No, mind.
Yeah,
He used to be in Maryland.
I always come out of why did you do
Yeah.
I know why you left.
And he's also coming here, ISP, next year, June.
Yes, June.
For 10 days. For 10 days.
Inshallah will be all well.
Inshallah, it's going to be very good.
Yeah, some of it will be like second nature. But I'm looking forward to that. That could be like
10 days.
10 days straight days, right?
Yeah, 10 straight days. It'll start from, I think, 7th June up to 16th. Or 10th to 7th. Something like that. 10th to something like that. The first or second week. Inshallah, I was thinking if you sign up, you have to register yourself. So I'm going to register myself very soon.
I found a pretty good resource. It's a PDF file my brother put together about words that are often being repeated in the Quran and words you can recognize.
Who? No, I
This
don't know.
brother is a friend of mine from Virginia.
Oh, really?
So it's really good. It's along the line of, you know, the video lesson that he sat down.
Oh, something like that. It's a PDF file. It's not a video.
No, it's not a video. What I have is a PDF file.
Oh, so yeah, if you can forward to ISB or
It's huge, but I'm going to extend it out to the class, inshallah, because I really think
you can just send a link. If there is a link instead of the whole file, I don't know if you can attach. If there's a link, then you can put it.
large
It's
file.
fine.
Let me see where he got it.
Yeah, you can send it to
I have a
ISB.
soft copy sitting on my desktop.
What is the name of the file? Maybe I can Google it, I can find it. If he has put the...
I don't recall the name of the file. I'll have to look it up.
Okay.
But if I can find a way to compress it,
I don't think
might be
PDF file
100
you can,
meg- it's a
no.
100 meg file.
No, 100 meg file you cannot even send to
maybe
email.
you can, I think you can post it on Google or something.
Yeah,
Like he has,
or Facebook.
like the way
To YouTube, he put it on
Adam
YouTube.
shared his calendar and
Yeah,
syllabus.
yeah,
Maybe we
yeah.
can do something.
Something like
Maybe I
that.
can send it to Brother Adam.
Yeah.
Can you put this on Google?
On
now?
Google, and then
I don't have a Google account, but I'm sure
yeah.
that way we can access it.
Access directly. Otherwise, everybody will have problem downloading that big file.
Yeah. Now, the book that we'll be reading,
Also,
do we
Sulamia.
have to purchase that? Or was he trying? I didn't think that's a link, right?
Yeah, he's in the link. I have to ask him because I want that file. Oh, let me ask him. Gibran?
Did you download that Columbia?
So
Are you?
Finally we-
Gibran, mashallah.
how you going?
Alhamdulillah. PGMA, right? You coming from PGMA? Ah,
He's getting more rewards than us.
One out.
you coming from Lanham?
Yes, Glendale.
How close you live to PGMA?
fourth, if not fourth.
That's going to come into here.
Right. I actually tried it, like, this is like the move you. This is super.
You work in there.
I work in DC. That's another hour, brother.
He goes, you know my brother? I'm sure. Yeah, everything that was in there. He's the editor.
Really?
Yeah, I have.
I own a vision architect. Many people I know, they know me as my husband. I'm a man with one name.
No.
No, I don't know that.
But and I blame my brother because he always introduced me as this is my brother. Remember my name is my brother. I give him a hard time. What is it? Oh, after all the years, people say, he's really been hard to do. Oh, what's your name? Quite funny.
No, I'm just going to another class.
Oh,
You remember?
no, it's the change, but I think we're going to be here till 12.
This week is like in the 60s during the day and 40s in the night. So,
You know about the brother of mine coming here next June.
no, I,
Coming here, I'd be from June 7th to June 15th.
yeah, for 10 days.
The class of Arabic.
10 days.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's going to be 3 hours every day from 7 to 10 p.m.
So it's sort of an intensive course.
Nice fun.
Hopefully by then, inshallah, most people will be familiar.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, for the
But then, I think last year, this year he came for family program for student France.
Last year he came for the Bayern
Watching by and you getting a swing.
Hamad? Yeah, I know him. He has good recitation.
No, 2 years. The first batch.
part of that dream.
Hamad, he's really from ICC. Yeah, that's why I know him. Yes.
Last time.
So this one is good. Yeah, I thought he was from ICC because I always see it there.
Up there, I don't know. He's in IT, right? He's in computer. Yeah, he's in IT. Yeah.
I used to be, but I tried to follow some
So it was there.
That's taking 9 months to after 4 months of studies, you can't speak Arabic or English at all. Day and night. That prevents from 8 to 6 in the night to 6.
And working people can't really go there, right? It's a full-time study program. So you have to drop your job and you have to right.
Yeah, you give back time. This is my first year
he has to be famous. He's really famous. In fact, he's really famous now. Fatih, right? That's what I think he teach Quran here and then he started reciting now. Someone else.
Probably 19, 20 now.
Where is he? Is he Texas?
For the course
Yeah, I think he's the one that I'm talking about. He's really famous now. He's really famous now. If you like go to he's very famous in Texas. If you like go to his Facebook page, he has like 300,000 plus fans. So that's it. I think his name is Fateh, and his last name is confusing. I don't know. It starts with an X. If you like look at his YouTube recitation videos, they have millions of views. It has more than 1 million views. He's really famous. But I was reading his biography. He's from ISB, right?
What's the reason?
During that time, remember that professor?
So his parents are he's really I think he was recently he was on the beach show also. Yeah. All the books are happening.
especially in the Dallas.
He does.
I think he gave up.
I think he has he has one Quran CDs now. Yeah. He does his professional recording. He has his own studio and stuff. So he does professional stuff.
Is he in Houston or in Dallas?
He's in Houston, right?
No, Bayan is in
I don't know.
Dallas.
It's not that clear.
Yeah, they live in Dallas. In the beginning, I was just, I think I did that. I was sending away. I said, then I thought, I don't really have a good idea. I kind of
So what's these guys living this year?
I was 13 years old. We were in the old Muscle. That old Muscle, the only thing I used to work at. There were no homes there. There was no trailers. Yeah, no homes.
When was this, 1970s? when was the groundbreaking?
He wants to know that.
We broke ground in 1982.
I wasn't even born.
The cellar was built in 830.
So you were 13 then. So okay.
You wouldn't even have thought.
Right.
This place went out of resource about 3 years ago.
When I moved, when I started working in Social Security here, this wasn't here. When I started in 2008, and I used to go in the old room. I used to pay after the work for the mortgage. I used to come here, but I still don't work there.
This wasn't.
Inshallah, we'll begin. Those of you who are in the hall, we'll begin inshallah next discussion. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We begin with the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask and we beseech Allah ta'ala to send His peace and blessings upon His last and final messenger Muhammad sallallahu wa sallam alayhi, on his family, his companions, and all those who follow his way until the day of judgment. Inshallah, we're going to just a quick review of what we've discussed up until this point. Oh, okay. Does any of the sisters know how to bring the sister down to this area? I think there's like a pathway in the back, right? When we come down the stairs, there's a pathway in the back. We'll have a sister waiting for you, inshallah. Second one. So up until this point, we've discussed, we introduced the sciences of the Arabic language, which includes vocabulary, includes the study of morphology, the study of grammar, and the study of expression or rhetoric, or what is known as the balagha. Then we went into the discussion of the different types of words that are present in the Arabic language, which include ism, fi'l, and harf. We brought a basic description as to what the differences are between the three types of words. And then after that, we are now delving into a discussion specifically regarding ism. Well, first and foremost, how do you recognize an ism? So we discussed how to recognize an ism. Now, once you recognize that a word is an ism, there are certain qualities that you need to recognize regarding the ism. Once you recognize that it is an ism, there are certain things that you need to detail about the ism. The first of which is whether or not the ism is definite or indefinite. It's definite if you see alif lam, indefinite if you see tanween. Then the second component of it is defining the gender of the ism. And to define the gender of the ism, or describe the gender of the ism, or recognize, more specifically, the gender of an ism, as either masculine or feminine, and every ism is a masculine unless there are certain signs or characteristics and traits that determine that it is feminine. So masculine, so in order to figure out whether a word is masculine or feminine, we should look for the signs that indicate that a word is feminine. If those signs or qualities are not present, then a word is masculine. That's the default status. So what are the signs that indicate that a word, that ism is feminine? You have ta marbuta, you have alif and hamza, ending with alif hamza, ending with alif maqsoor. Those are the three signs physically you can see that indicate that a word is feminine. There are certain words such as Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, and other words, Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam. These are words that are names of men. And so the only thing that indicates that that word is feminine is the way it looks. As the brother pointed out, and there's a good way of explaining it, that the only thing that potentially makes this word feminine is the way it looks. But because you know the meaning of that word, and that meaning is that it is a name of a man, or it's identifying something that is masculine or feminine, in and of itself, then it doesn't matter what the sign is. So we give the example of Musa and Isa. Both of these are names of men. And even though they have alif maqsoor at the end of them, they're still masculine terms because the meaning of it is masculine. The same thing, bint. Bint or nisa. I'm sorry, bint. So bint means daughter. And even though bint does not have ta marbuta, it doesn't have alif maqsoor, it doesn't have alif hamza, because it means daughter, because the meaning is feminine, it is described, it is a feminine word. Okay? Then after describing the femininity of the word, the next characteristic is the plurality. And in the English language, there are only two types of plurality for a noun. The noun is either singular or plural. In the Arabic language, however, it is more specific than that. As you can see here listed, there are three types of plurality for the ism. The three types of plurality for an ism is mufrad, muthanna, and jamma. Mufrad is singular. So, in Arabic, we have an extra type of category, an extra type of plural, which is known as dual. Meaning, the Arabic language is so specific that you can determine whether there's one person, whether there's two person, or more than two people. So, that's how specific the Arabic language will get. And that's something that's very beautiful about it because it is used in the Quran for specificity, and it leaves it leaves vagueness. It makes things specific. When you talk about rules and all these different things, it makes things specific. So that's one of the beautiful things about the Arabic language. And it gets even more specific because there are three types of plural based on the type of word it is initially. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. So mufrad is your standard, is the default status again of an ism. So we've been so far working with singular words. Kitabun, qalamun, muslimun, muslimatun. All these different words, they're singular. And there are certain signs that indicate whether a word is dual or a word is plural. Okay? So the signs that indicate a word, how do you turn a singular word into a dual word, is as demonstrated here. The simple thing is if you hear ani at the end of a word, that word is dual. So how do you turn kitabun into dual? Kitabani. Kitabani. You add the alif and the noon. Kitabani. Kitabani. Muslimani. Muslimatani. Nothing else changes. The only thing you do is you turn the last harakah, the last vowel at the end of the word into a fathah, and then you add alif, noon, kasra. It'll always have a kasra under the noon. Kitabani, muslimani, muslimatani. Those are the examples. Now, how do you and I have them listed here. You have the broken plural, or the sound plural. So you have the broken plural or the sound plural. There are two different major categories of plural. It is either broken or sound. And if it is sound, it is either sound masculine or sound feminine. Okay? So, and all that is determined based on two things. How do you determine whether a word is sound or if a word is broken? So for the most part, sound or a broken plural, it is considered broken because of two reasons. Okay, so think of a family, right? You have a family, you have a sound family, and you have a broken family. What is the family? The family are the original words, the original letters. So you have here cat, ta, alif, and ba. Okay? So you have here four original letters. When you move into the plural, how many letters do you have in the general here? You have kaf, you have ta, and you have ba. Okay, kutubun. What happened here? The alif ran away, right? It was a bad apple in the family and it ran away. Your family kicked it out. Who knows? So kitabun became kutubun. So we now have a broken family. We have a broken family because the original family of letters are no longer together. There's something missing. There's something missing. There's actually another way, and I should have written it down actually. And it's not going to be as clean here. But for your purposes, the word qalamun, go ahead and write qalamun. Qaf, lam, and mim. Qalamun. Go ahead and write it at the bottom of your notes, like underneath it. Qaf, lam, one. How do you turn qalamun into dual? Anybody? Raise your hand and go ahead. What was it? Qalamani. Excellent. Qalamani. So you just have qalamani. Qalamani. That's dual. So you're talking about two. Qalamun means pen or marker or writing device. So qalamun, qalamani, qalamani. How do you say plural? How do you say pens? Aqlamun. Go ahead and write that down. Aqlamun. Aqlamun has a hamza in the beginning. Aq, qaf with a sukoon, lam with a fatha, alif, mim, dhamma. Aqlamun. How many letters is in the original family? Qalamun. 3. How many letters is in the plural? 5. You have added hamza in the beginning, and you have an alif in between the lam and the mim. So what happened is, you have a word which is qalamun, and now it becomes plural and it's aqlamun. So there are two ways a family could break, right? A family could break either by the loss of family members, such as the example of kitabun. Alif ran away, it's kutubun. So the family is broken, it's a broken plural. However, there's another way. You can have conditions to the family. So, lamb got married without the parents' permission, right? So got an alif and before the mim. So and then Hamza came and he said, here. Sound, masculine, plural. So Muslim, what's the meaning of Muslim? Someone who performs aslama, which means to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Muslim and Muslima. Muslim is male, Muslima is female. So Muslim, how do you make it dual? Two Muslims, Muslimani. How do you make it plural? Muslim, Muna. You add a wow and a noon, and the noon always has a fatha at the end of it. Always. Muslim, Muna. Muslim, Muna. Why is the sound and what? I mean, there's added letters here, right? So why is the sound and it's not broken? They're added to the end. The original family is still together. You see? The original family means, their original changes in it. They didn't disappear. Okay? Now let's look at Muslimatun. So, Muslimatun, Muslimatani, Muslimatun. Now this one's a little tricky because the Tamabuta is kind of like an adopted child, so it's not really part of the family, but it is part of the family, so maybe that's not a good example because maybe someone adopted it and you're going to kill me. But Muslimatun, the Tamabuta is a soft letter. Tamabuta is a soft letter, it's probably a better way of describing it. So it's not part of the original family of letters. So if the Tamabuta disappears, it's completely acceptable. Okay? So the original letters is actually Neem, Sin, Neem, Lam, and Neem. Okay? The Tamabuta is extra. Because the Tamabuta is there to identify that it is a female. You see what I'm saying? So it's not really the original word, it's to identify that it is a female. Okay? So Tamabuta doesn't count in these words. So Muslimatun, Muslimatani, and then Muslimatun. You add an alif and add a ta after Muslim. And therefore it is broken, it is sound because the original letters are still together. There's nothing in between and nothing before. If it comes after, it's sound. Okay? Now, you do have to recognize that a word is masculine or feminine, and that's why it's important again to recognize Tamabuta. Because when you have Tamabuta, when you turn it into a plural, it changes. If it's a sound plural, it changes. It's different from a sound masculine plural. And this is the reason why we need to recognize its gender. Okay? So you're starting to see the reasons why we're learning these things. You need to recognize its gender. Muslimuna, Muslimat. So how do you recognize? First you need to understand that a plural can either be broken or sound. It's broken if you have a missing of the original letters or addition to the original letters in between them or before them. And then once you recognize whether it is broken or sound, if it is sound, it can be masculine or feminine. Masculine or feminine. And masculine if the original word is masculine, and feminine if the original word has Tamabuta. And specifically Tamabuta. Okay, if it's feminine with Tamabuta, it'll have that specific ending of atom. Okay? Are there any questions about plurality? So how many total possible plural forms are there in the Arabic language? Right, yes. Three? Total, but on top of three, there's two more possibilities? Go ahead. Close. -1. 5. But you're right, there's three possible. There's single dual plural, but there's three types of plural. So you have to recognize there are three types of plural. There can be one of three types of plural. It can be broken, or sound masculine, sound feminine. So total, there are 5 possibilities of a word, how it will look in terms of its plurality. Okay? So that is plurality. Go ahead and write this down. And there's an important principle that the sister brought up about, like, if you have ayn and it becomes uyun, or you have the other and it becomes ayd, or if you have these body parts and you make a plural, what is its feminine and what is its or gender, etc. And in fact, it has to relate to plurality in general. And so that's why I left it until after explaining this. So go ahead and write this down. On the other side of the board, we'll explain that golden principle that's important to understand. It'll save us from a lot of confusion when we recite Quran, inshallah.
be the plural form?
So the question while you're writing this down is Jannah, the answer of Jannah. Jannatun, or the tan al-buta. The plural, the dual is Jannatan, right? And the plural, what is the plural? Actually the plural is Jannat. So it is also a sound feminine plural. The plural is probably one of the most difficult things. Okay? You'll see why in a minute. Because especially if the plural is broken, if you didn't know that kutubun is the plural of kitabun, if you didn't know that, there's no way of you telling that that is a plural word. You see what I'm saying? If you just saw it by itself in a sentence, you wouldn't be able to tell if it's plural or not. But there are certain signs around it in the sentence that can give you hints. Okay? And you'll learn that in time. But una and atun, these are plurals. You always see them as plurals. Okay? And I specifically use una and atun instead of ina, muslimina, and muslimatin, because that is something to be discussed in the next session. Okay? Any other questions? Good question. There's a golden rule to be understood in regards to plurality and gender, and how the two are used together. If all, the golden rule is plurals of non-human / inanimate objects function, or they act like single feminine objects. Go ahead and write that down, let it soak in for a minute, and then I'll demonstrate what that means. All objects, all plurals of non-human / inanimate objects act like single feminine objects. Single feminine objects. So, I'm going to demonstrate why it's important to know these characteristics in just a moment. Because in the Arabic language, when you put words together, they form what are called compounds. Okay? When you put words together, and they're not yet complete sentences, they form what are called compounds. And we'll go into detail about those in a moment, inshallah, later in the day. Here we have a special type of compound. Who knows what type of compound are demonstrated here? Al-Qalam al-Kabiru. Al-Aqlam al-Kabiratu. Now these are not complete sentences, but they are a phrase that are part of the sentence. Al-Qalam al-Kabiru. Well, in order to know what type of sentence or compound or phrase it is, let's go to the meaning. So al-Qalam, what is the meaning of al-Qalam? The pen. What about al-Kabiru? The big. Al-Aqlamu. The pens. And this means the same thing, the big. So we now, this is kind of the process that we do. So we know that al-qalam means the pen, al-kabiru means the big, right? So you see, just knowing the meaning of a word doesn't mean that you can put words together and make sense. The pen, the big, just happen. This is why you need to learn nahu. This is why you need to know grammar. Because in Nahu, one of the things you learn is that there are certain phrases. When you put words together, there are words function as one unit, and there are ways to recognize different phrases. What kind of phrase is this? English or Arabic, it doesn't matter. What is al-kabir? What kind of word is that? Adjective. So it's an adjectival phrase. So it's a phrase for adjectives. Okay? In Arabic, it's called al-ism al-tawsifi or al-murakkab al-tawsifi. Don't worry about it. We're going to discuss those in detail in the next stage. So al-qalam al-kabir, you need to recognize that this is called an adjectival phrase, an adjectival compound. And in an adjectival compound, how do you recognize that it is an adjectival compound? You recognize that the word, first of all, you recognize that the words match in all four characteristics of the ism. If two words are put together and they match in all four traits of an ism, those words are combined together as part of an adjectival compound. And therefore, the word that follows is an adjective for the word that came before it. Okay? So, example here, al-qalamu al-kabiru. So, what are the three? The fourth one is i'rab. But what are the three categories here? What is it? Is it definite or indefinite? Definite. Masculine or feminine? Masculine. Single, dual, or plural? Single. Excellent. Definite or indefinite? Masculine or feminine? Excellent. Single, dual, or plural? Single. And there's the fourth one is that it is in the state, grammatical state of rafa. Okay, dhamma. Don't worry about that. But just trust me that they match in that as well. So now you recognize that they match in all four characteristics. You recognize that this is what's known as an adjectival compound. And when you recognize that it is an adjectival compound, you recognize that this word is being described by this word. This is the adjective because it comes afterwards. That's how it is in the Arabic language. The adjective comes afterwards, not before. And therefore, the pen, the big, when you recognize it as an adjectival compound, it becomes the big pen. Okay? Now the same thing here. Definite or indefinite?
Definite.
Single, masculine or feminine? Masculine. Single, dual, or plural? Plural. And it is rafa. Okay, good. Definite or indefinite?
Definite.
Masculine or feminine? Feminine. Single, dual, or plural? Fusion. What is it? Single. Okay. And then it is also in the state of rafa. But this, you will learn, is also an adjectival compound. Why? Because of this rule. Because it is describing a plural of an inanimate object. Inanimate object. Therefore, this actually will be described by single feminine words. Okay? So this is, al-qalamu is what? It is definite. Definite. It is masculine. It is plural. This one is definite, feminine, single. But they do match. Why? Because this is a plural of a pen. Is a pen human or non-human? Non-human. When you put pens together that are non-human, they function like one pen. That is feminine. So that's just the rule of grammar that you'll learn in due time. But this is something that is important to know that can save us from a lot of confusion. Because now we're able to recognize that this is an adjectival compound because they actually do match. Because when you take qalamun and you turn it into a plural, it is now actually a plural, single female. A definite single female. And therefore this is definite single female. So it's important to know that rule. So when it comes to body parts, right? Are they human or non-human? Non-human. So when you make them plural, how do they function? They function as single females. So you ask the question, sister, what is the gender? What is the gender? So we know the single for yedun, for yed or ayn. Because it has a pair, we know that ayn, the single form of ayn, is feminine. So the question is, when you make it uyun, it becomes plural, is it feminine or masculine? And the question is, it is still feminine. Why? Just because it is a non-human plural, it acts like a single feminine. Does that make sense? So that's a little bit confusing, but it's important to understand. And when we practice with reading, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right, that's right. And I saw you guys do that yesterday. Oh, I remember a moment. So that's the kind of thing that will come with practice, inshallah. And these are important rules that comes with practice. When you ask yourself, like, why does it say, this or whatever, and it doesn't say that, and then you realize why. Okay? So this is an important rule. Before we take our lunch break, inshallah, we will discuss we'll introduce the last component of the Islam. And then we'll go into details about it, inshallah, moving forward. So go ahead and write this down.
How you actually say that the body parts are non-human?
What was that?
How you say that the body parts are non-human?
Non-human meaning, are you talking about a human?
Yeah.
Are you talking about a human?
When you're talking
By non-human, we inanimate objects. Does it have a life or does it not have life? Does it have a ruh or does it not have a ruh? Does that make sense? Does it have a spirit or does it not have a spirit? Inanimate objects. So, daughter, son, mother. These are all. We're talking about human beings. Human beings. But everything else, we're talking about things that don't have life. Does your nose have life?
But he's saying the body parts like eyes, ears.
Yeah. They don't have life. They're not living. You see what I'm saying? In the physical sense. They're not living in the physical sense. So therefore, they're inanimate objects. You understand? Inanimate objects, also known as janid, they're like this. They don't have life, right? So because of that, that's why I use non-human or inanimate objects. Non-human is a simpler way of understanding it. Are you talking about a human being or not? If you're not talking about a human being, then the plural is inanimate, and so therefore it takes this rule. Does that make sense? He's still a little bit not satisfied with my answer. I know the part of a human being, but you're not talking about a human being, like a mother, or a daughter, or a teacher, etc. Inshallah, that's a little bit not clear, inshallah. Hopefully we'll discuss it in the future. And another question? Same question? Yeah. Go ahead.
The Jama of Muslim, sometimes we use the mean.
Muslima, you said?
Muslimin.
Yeah. You'll learn that next, inshallah. So, why is it Ina and not Una? Those are what we're going to learn after the lunch, inshallah. Sorry? Sure, inshallah. I think we are out of books now. We have to reorder for students who would like to take the class going forward, inshallah. I think we ran out of books, unfortunately. So, but we do have an electronic copy of the book, and so we can send it to you if you're interested. Okay, so, by the way, we have our organization. not mix falsehood with truthfulness and conceal it while you are knowing, okay? While you are aware. So do not mix falsehood with truthfulness and then conceal truthfulness with falsehood. And this is taken from the Quran as well, talking about Bani Israel. So that's barakallahu fi for the hadith, inshallah. And we should include these things to bring barakah to our discussion, inshallah. So the next thing, inshallah, is that we'll introduce in the next 5 minutes or so the concept of the fourth category, which is known as al-i'rab. So this question, this al-i'rab discusses what Mehtab asked, and what some of us may be asking. Why do you see, it answers the question, why do you see the fun? So, this question, the discussion of i'rab, the discussion of the grammatical state, answers the question, why do you see kitabun versus kitabin versus kitaban? Or why do you see muslimuna and not muslimina? Or why do you see qadamani and not qadamaini? Or other way around. Why do you see qadamaini and not qadaman? And why do you see muslimatun as opposed to muslimatin? So this is what is known as the discussion of i'rab. And i'rab, I'm going into more details about it after the break. But I want to give you an analogy by which you can use, inshallah, to comprehend the reason for i'rab. And then I'm going to give you an English example of how i'rab is actually used in English. So, and it's seen in the pronouns of English. So, i'rab, an example of i'rab, an analogy that we can use to try to comprehend it, is the analogies of human emotion. Okay? So we have human beings have an emotional state. Sad, angry, happy. So someone may be sad, they may be angry, or they may be happy. 3 simple states. I mean, there's other states as well, but we're giving you these 3 simple states. So someone is sad, angry, or happy. There's a reason why they're sad, Sad. Right? Sad. Smoke coming out of the ears, right? Angry. And happy. So, i'rab, or the grammatical state, is something that is very similar. Grammatical, in fact, the study of i'rab is the foundation of grammar, of nahu. So, nahu is the study of words and their function in the sentence and the study of endings. The reason why they have those certain endings is because they're in a particular state. And the reason why they're in that particular state is because they have a certain function in the sentence. There's a reason why. So, someone's emotional state is like the grammatical state of a word. So, if they're happy, they smile. If they're sad, they frown. If they're angry, they get all turned red, especially when they turn into a tornado. And then you have heat coming out of their ears. That indicates that that person's angry. So the person is in a particular emotional state, and there are signs that that person exhibits that indicate that they're in that state. But there's a reason why they're in that state. Something happened. So that is the study of i'rab. And we'll go into more details, inshallah, about that after lunch. We're going to take a break. Any questions so far about that, inshallah? So i'rab, what you're going to study in i'rab is you're going to recognize the words in ism. You recognize the word as an ism, you recognize that the word is definite or indefinite, you recognize if it's masculine or feminine, you recognize if it's single, dual, or plural, and if it's plural, you recognize whether it's broken or sound, and if you recognize that it's sound, you realize that it's sound masculine or sound feminine. Okay? Once you figure all that out, now you want to figure out its i'rab. You want to figure out its i'rab by looking at its sign, looking at how it looks. How does it look? The signs of i'rab is very important, and so when you want to study i'rab, you want to ask the question, what is its grammatical state? What is its i'rab? And there are three types of i'rab, or three types of grammatical state for the ism. You may have heard it before. Marfu'un, mansubun, majrurun, or raf'un, nasbun, jar. Right? And therefore, how do you know that it is marfu'un, mansubun, majrurun? How do you know that it's in that grammatical state? There are certain alamat. There are certain signs that indicate that it is in a particular grammatical state. And then you answer the question. The last question is, why is it in that grammatical state? What function? What happened to it? What made it in that grammatical state? If you can answer those questions, you're in good shape, inshallah, in terms of putting the sentence together to make sense. Okay? So, any questions for anything we covered in the morning session? Okay, very good, inshallah. Go ahead and write this down. We will be having lunch exactly, I'm assuming in the gym, but in the room. Okay, so we have a room right here that we'll be having lunch in, inshallah. And then after that, we'll be moving to another room in the back, one of the classrooms, inshallah, to continue our course. Okay? So, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. If any of the brothers or sisters who are new are interested in joining the class moving forward, please come speak with me and we can discuss